J. DeVoe was born in Castries, St. Lucia in 1934. He was a patriot who truly loved his fair Helen. Robert was a conservationist, a historian, and environmentalist who worked assiduously to preserve St. Lucia's heritage. One wonders if it's a coincidence that his passing was on April 16th, 2 days prior to the observance of World Heritage Day. He was one of the founding fathers of the St. Lucia National Trust and its first director from 1977 to 1994, and a resident researcher from 1994 to 1996. After leaving the employ of the trust, he continued to support the organization's work as an active member, resource person, volunteer, and consultant. Through the memories of his wife Pam, their 4 children, and 9 grandchildren, one gets a better understanding of his passion for life, heritage conservation, and his family. According to one of his children, he was a kind, wise, and fun dad, and although they may have not afforded all the luxuries of travel and expensive toys, they had a childhood filled with fun and adventure. Robert would take his children camping at Maria Islands and even included them in his efforts to rescue the endangered species whenever there were fires on the islands as far back as 1978. Other escapades included Easter vacations at Rat Island, surfing at Pigeon Island, and playing volleyball in the garden with a volleyball net he made from scratch. In 1993, Robert received a Paul Harris Fellowship Award. He was an officer of the Most Excellent Order of the British Empire, OBE, in 1991. Additionally, he was inducted into the Tourism Hall of Fame in 1996, and in 1998, he copped the MNC Fine Arts Award for Literature. Despite his plethora of awards and public work, Robert was a private individual whose 2 favorite pastimes were conducting research and building trails. Green can be seen throughout nature and is reflected in the many shades of our majestic mountains, or expansive forests and towering trees. It is no surprise that Robert's favorite color was indeed green. He was an avid researcher and writer, whose works have helped many to grasp a better idea of the rich history of St. Lucia. Robert has penned close to 30 publications, including St. Lucia Historic Sites 1975, A Century of Coaling in St. Lucia 1975, Birdwatcher's Guide to Pigeon Island 1996, They Called Us Brigands, The Saga of St. Lucia's Freedom Fighters 1997, and he also co-authored A History of St. Lucia in 2012 with Guy Ellis and Jolene Harmson. These and many of Robert's works are available at the St. Lucia National Trust's Documentation Center at the Pigeon Island National Landmark. Robert was a visionary who hoped that policymakers would share his dream that conservation and heritage preservation can be placed on par with development. He was a realist who never tried to prevent development. Instead, he preached sustainable development. Despite his efforts, he lost a few battles aimed at developing St. Lucia in a more sustainable manner. Nonetheless, his unrelenting zeal led to the creation of the Pigeon Island National Landmark as a rich historical and natural site with an ambience that serves as the ideal haven for relaxation, entertainment, research, and exploration for both locals and visitors. Additionally, his drive to encourage preservation of records led him to establish the St. Lucia National Archives, one of his proudest accomplishments. Robert was concerned about how much had already been lost, but according to his family, his passion for conservation of the island's natural and cultural patrimony was worth the fight. As such, he encouraged everyone to safeguard what little is left of our beaches, rainforests, wildlife, and historic sites. Now, It is our responsibility to carry on his legacy for the benefit of present and future generations of St. Lucia.
Prime Minister Alan Chastanet has reaffirmed his government's position regarding the National Trust annual subvention, which was cut in 2017. This comes as the Trust recently confirmed that COVID-19 has dealt a crippling blow to the already struggling organization.
Our income between April and October of 2019 was $1.247 million. And for the same period this year, income was $197,000. As a result, over the past 7 months, we have spent just over $1 million more than we have earned to keep the organization functioning.
Chairperson Alison King has revealed that as a result, the Trust has been forced to resort to drastic measures in order to ensure its survival.
On November 11th, 2020, we informed staff of the approach to be followed, which includes a reduction in salary and work hours in December 2020, and the severance of all staff effective December 31st, 2020. In parallel, we began a critical examination of our work program to retain those services necessary to see the Trust through the financial crisis we face and to keep the Pigeon Island National Landmark open. This exercise will be completed in the coming days and will be used as the basis for re-engaging staff whose services will be necessary to meet our objectives from January 1st, 2021.
King affirmed that these decisions were taken after consultation with staff and the Labour Department and after careful consideration of all options.
A not-so-happy new year for the St. Lucia National Trust, tasked with protecting the island's patrimony, as a deep cut to the employee roster of the organization has left some 12 persons without a job for the new year. According to the director of the SLNT, Bishnu Tulsi, the cut could have been avoided. A government subvention valued at $700,000 was reduced to $0 back in 2017 by the Alan Chastanet-led administration. The St. Lucia National Trust now struggles to make ends meet in the ongoing pandemic.
All the restructuring, what we are saving is about the subvention. It's about that amount. We gave the figures to the Prime Minister. He's aware of the challenges. He's aware of the financing gap that we have. And I think that if we were still getting the subvention, we could have retained most, if not all, of the staff we have had.
Tulsi says the Trust remains committed to its mandate. However, the staff reduction, he says, will impact the organization's ability to carry out its duties properly in the eventuality of new threats to the island's heritage and patrimony. In May 2020, the Royal Jail, built in 1827, was demolished during a state of emergency.
Should issues arise, we will again try to deal with them through dialogue and discussion. If that doesn't work, we hope our members will step in and assist. A number of our councillors are also good at that. So we will have to rely on innovative ways to deal with this. Obviously, we cannot ignore our reason for existing, which is protecting the nation's patrimony. And should future threats or any threats arise in that regard, we will have to take steps. Maybe the pandemic is going to prevent any of that kind of thing from happening. We hope. We don't know.
The Trust will now operate at a reduced pace to ensure the longevity of the organization. The bulk of the work will include the maintenance of the Pigeon Island National Landmark and various ongoing projects.
We are still carrying our built heritage, parts of it. So at the end of the day, we are going into a period of about maybe 11 months to a year, in which we will be doing minimum work, ensuring the survival of the organization. And then in the meantime, we had the plans that we had prior to the pandemic to expand our revenue stream. We will have to work on those, and once things return to normal, to begin to roll some of those out.
Prime Minister Alain Chastanet in 2020 challenged the trust to become a more commercially viable entity. Tulsi says a re-examination of the trust has ensued in preparation for a return to normalcy to ensure that the organization can meet its operating costs and implement a new strategic plan. With the advent of 2021, the Trust remains hopeful that open dialogue with the relevant authorities will ensure that St. Lucia's patrimony remains protected.